or good afternoon, wherever you are. Good day to all of you. Happy New Year. First broadcast of 2024. That's so crazy to say that. Oh my word. Let's see who is live in the group. I see Danny, Nola, Jeffrey, Dorota, Jen. Thanks so much for dropping in. Welcome to the training, learning, and development community. I am here just to start out the year and just get going back into broadcasting things. The year has started out a little crazy. How is all of your New Year's going so far? Mine has been a little bumpy, but we're getting through it. We're figuring it out. Like almost 3 weeks in, and we're getting it done. Before I forget, first thing I want to post about is our next live event, live conference is ready for everyone to check out. The program is pretty much completely done, and there are 17 sessions the week of January 29th. Oh, by the way, can everyone see me and hear me okay? Just let me make sure that I am live and that folks can hear me. Just type something in chat or wherever. Okay, great. Thanks. Oh, Farhan, thank you so much. I'm like, oh, it's a new year. Did I just like mess up already? Hey, Craig, good to see you. There you go. Yes, Quetzal, something in chat. Awesome. Anyway, that event, which is it's called Bridge to Success, transitioning to learning and development. You can see I posted the URL there. Even if you're not just transitioning to L&D, if you're somebody that is intermediate or is a seasoned L&D veteran, we have sessions in there about like things like networking and LinkedIn, lots of other different things. Just hearing folks' stories is always a great thing, I think, all around if you're in this industry, because you just can compare notes and learn from others. It's also just a great way to meet and connect with other folks and maybe just inspire you in some way. So it's free. Sign up, t2ld.com. You can see the program, the agenda there, and sign up. So would love to have you there. Oh, Danny, you lost video and audio. Okay, so let's see if anybody else has any feedback on that. Let me know. I think I have a pretty good connection here. Hi, Cindy. Good to see you. Great to see you. Okay, great. Thanks, Craig. All right, so let's talk about GPTs. How many of you is anybody out there, are you using ChatGPT at all or any other type of AI tool like Claude or even image generators, DALL-E, MidJourney, things like that? I know for one of my things for 2024 is to just get really, really comfortable with using this stuff. There's no doubt in my mind that it's going to be a part of everybody's workflow going forward. Yes, everybody's using it. Jeffrey's using image generators. I just signed up for a MidJourney account and have built actually really only one item. I haven't had time to go back and just start really playing around with it, but I have. It's definitely a priority of mine to get proficient building those, because I think that's just going to be standard, knowing how to run something like MidJourney. And yes, Cindy's note takers, summary tools, absolutely. So during the holiday break, I finally decided to jump in and just create some GPTs, and this is what I've got. I think that maybe if you've looked in the newsletter, I did share that I have this one, which it's called the TLDC Career Coach. I built that one just as a test to see, and maybe I could, so it relates to the upcoming event. And then I started to think, I'm like, what if I just created one of these GPTs for every event that we do? And so that is kind of stirring in my head. But I wanted to show everybody how I built those, how I built this, and how easy it was. It's actually ridiculously easy. And I have tested it out and played around with some of the different conversations that are kind of default and open in the system to see. I am not a transitioning L&D person, so I couldn't get too deep into it, but I feel like it's pretty useful if somebody were looking to transition into L&D and just needed some basic information. I I mean, this thing's amazing. Uh, Let me share my screen and I'll just show you what it looks like. Everything is opposite on Crowdcast versus here. I'm going to share my whole screen versus AirMeet, which is our main conference platform. So I'm always confused here. All right, so let me know if you can see that. It is my screen showing my browser. You can see all my bookmarks there. Let's see. Permission granted. Thanks, Kitzel. All right, so you can see the TLDC Career Coach. Here are some of the default conversations that you can have are in there, and this is something that ChatGPT just sort of recommends as conversation starters. But let's try this one. What are the first steps toward a career in instructional design? I'm going to go ahead and do that. Craig, it is really amazing, to just, I mean, I seriously look at ChatGPT as interns for me. And this particular intern is looking a little slow, but there we go. You can see that it's starting to answer the question of what are the first steps toward a career in instructional design. And I think this is, this saves you a lot of clicks. If you were to try to do something like this in Google, just standard search, it would take you hours to come up with this useful information. And it still, I'm just, I am always just amazed at how well ChatGPT outputs useful information for me. And so these GPTs that you can create, like for specific purposes, are really helpful. Preparing for this, I was like reviewing what other people have done. I went to YouTube and was checking out, what other people have used to build chat GPTs. And I saw folks like building them for golf. And there was one guy who actually used his mobile phone and he built a specific chat GPT to help him choose what clubs to use and the strategy to play while he's playing golf. And it was spot on the entire time. I don't know how, I feel like if you did that, like you would probably never become a better golfer, because I feel like that's a game that you really need to make mistakes on to learn how to do it well, and most other games too. But I thought that it was amazing that, using his phone, he was just talking to his chat GPT or his GPT the entire time, and the GPT was just telling him what to do, which sort of reminded me of my dad and my grandfather when I was growing up trying to learn how to play golf. They were like my GPTs. All right, let me check out the chat here. Yeah, it's all, I think, not just mirror on the wall, but I mean, who was it? I can't remember what, we had a couple one speaker in particular who had named their GPT, and I thought that was really, really fun. Let's see. Craig saying, I use it on a regular basis. It just takes my writing and alters it the way I need. SEO compliance, more active instead of passive, more professional, less professional, more for LinkedIn, more for X, etc. I totally agree, Craig. And the thing is realistically, a lot of times when I do generate any type of output or content using ChatGPT, it doesn't get it right the first time. I usually take it and I edit it and I change it the way that I need it to. It is a tool. There are certain things that I know that I would really, really like to focus on, like especially like with TLDC, like bringing together or pulling together events and bringing people together to share information to help others. Those are the things that I really like to focus on. The content part of it takes up a ton of time, and ChatGPT and just the level of AI now in general has been truly a godsend for me, because then I can focus on, interacting with the humans, and I can let ChatGPT do a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to just, ideas for content generation and just getting the the basics of landing pages together, things like that. So I love it. All right, so you can see that with this particular TLDC Career Coach GPT, it came up with 8 points and that are specific to what somebody who is embarking on a career in instructional design, just a beginner level overview. All right, and there are a variety of other conversation starters that you can use in that one, as well as get into specifics. And if anybody has a specific question to ask, I'm happy to ask it. Try to stump GPT. Feel free to drop it in chat and I'll do it. Cindy's saying I use it for writing assistance as well, similar to Craig. I use it for brainstorming. I've even used it to help me. Other uses include fixing HTML components needed for my LMS. Totally agree. I've used it for coding as well, which is actually really crazy to me. Like, yeah, just telling it that I need a border doing this, or like, especially with a graphic element, and it'll come up with the CSS and just do different things. There was one instance though where it took me at least like 8 or 9 queries before it got it right, but it did eventually. So anyway, I'm going to go back to the other screen. Oh, Danny's asking how to validate the results or outcomes. Seems to generate a lot of info. I think that is the human part of it too. I mean, there are things, I guess, that if I try to maintain some level of um, of critical thinking with a lot of the output with these GPTs. I mean, that's kind of like almost the first wall that you really have to pass. I mean, I'm not going to ask it. I know that I've read articles about how I think Google recently did a test where actually ChatGPT was better at recommending medical advice than a group of human doctors. And you have to be critical of, think critically about that one too. But I can see how that could actually work pretty well. So, but we still have to have that level. I think critical thinking is going to be a huge component of our survival as we go forward, especially if we're relying on AI to do anything. So yeah, all about the prompts. All right, so let's make a GPT. Next event that we're doing, and I haven't announced it yet, I don't think, but February is going to be visual design for learning. And so I want to build a GPT for that. I started thinking about it and I came up with this GPT creation prompt. So let me go in. Here's the first step when you're creating this GPT, when you're creating GPTs in your account. And you need the paid ChatGPT account to be able to do this. So it's as simple as this. I have the TLDC Career Coach created. I've only created one, but you create another GPT here. I'm going to go to this create button on the left, and ChatGPT is just going to help build this new GPT. And essentially, what would you like to make? Here's my prompt. And I'm taking this because I think it was Leanne Morgan who had asked me back in October to pull together a visual design for learning event, which I thought was interesting. We had already had November and December booked for events. So this, and of course this one for January, the transitioning to learning L&D. But I really thought it would be fun to do a visual design for learning one. So here is my prompt: make a creative that is an expert in visual design for learning. This expert would be an experienced instructional designer that has expertise in color theory and palettes, typography, course layout, navigation, UX, UI, crafting compelling narratives through visuals, e-learning styles and latest trends. The creative also knows how to use all Adobe products: DALL-E, MidJourney, Stable Diffusion, and Adobe Firefly. Now, that seems a little crazy. That is also, like, some of that content came from Leanne. Some of it is mine. But does anybody else have any other recommendations for this creative? I don't know, Craig. Maybe I know that that you do a lot of graphic work. Oh, get Saul. You're looking for a job? I didn't know that. Gosh. No, Chat GPT, I don't think can do a job search for you, but TLDC might be able to help. So let's work on that, sir. I would be happy to see what we can come up with as with the community, because we of course are here to help each other. Um, anyway, so I'm going to start with that prompt. Is that cool with everyone? Hope so, because we're gonna do it. Oops. Here we go. So I just input that and it's updating it. Put something more about where the output is going. Website, personal logo, t-shirts. Interesting. Okay, we can actually configure it a little bit more if we want to. I want to understand that a little bit more on the output. So visual design for learning. So if we were, where would you want me to specify that visual design is specific to courses or something like that? Are you thinking? Anyway, so GPT Builder is saying, great, let's name this creative GPT. How about Design Guru? Does that work for you, or do you have another name in mind? I'm not a big fan of Design Guru. Oh, how about this? I'm going to ask GPT, can you come up with a different name, please? I've been polite to my GPTs. I've heard that actually being polite to AI can help. So I've been saying please and thank you. Let's see what it says. Visual scholar. Huh. Let's go with visual learning scholar. Oops. Let's go with, last year at this time, if you had told me that I'd be doing something like this, I would have been like, that's crazy that I would, that I'm doing a crowdcast, building something like this and talking to a computer, an algorithm about building a visual learning expert. All right. Jen saying she thought she was the only one to say please and thank you. All right. So I'm going with visual learning scholar. Now let's see. Now it generates a profile picture. I mean, that's pretty cool. Yes, Danny, it is shockingly human. And I believe I read Sam Altman, who is the founder, and I believe he's the current CEO or something of ChatGPT and OpenAI, was saying that isn't too far away. Just that it, like the human interchange is just going to level up and be very, very realistic. I mean, it already is pretty realistic to me. So I don't feel like that's far away. His take on it, I wish I had read it more in detail, but it was just nothing to fear. It's just that the language is going to be is just going to be more natural, and you could actually control how natural you want it to be. Okay, what do you guys think of that profile picture? Open book, vibrant, colorful pages, each representing different aspects of visual design. Let me know if you think that that's okay. It looks a little confusing. From here, it looks, from a distance, it almost looks like a peacock. Let's have it come up with one more. Please generate another profile picture. So let's see what it comes up with. Let's see. Craig is saying, another thing I had to learn the hard way was not to start a new prompt each time. GPT will build off the previous. For example, I had a long prompt and got a 2-page response. I just typed, shorten it up by about 50 words, and it took what I'd already produced and trimmed it. Yes. Yeah. 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 Jan is saying, I like editing and I'm very happy to dialogue with AI. Oh, yes. Light bulb with A rainbow sort of color palette. That is simple and it's easy. And TLDC in the past, way back in 2016, I was definitely using a light bulb. Syrian and light bulb, yeah, yeah, not quite as wavy. Um, okay, let's do this. This suits my vision. Let's be enthusiastic about it and see if that changes anything. Um, let's see. I'm just gonna. I don't know what the next step happens if I say this suits my vision. Great. Now let's refine the context. Wow, look at that. It's just gonna continue. What specific types of interactions or tasks should this GPT focus on to best assist users in visual design for learning? This can include specific design queries, software related questions, or any other relevant assistance. Okay, I am not ready for this. I'm not sure. What types of interactions or tasks should this GPT focus on to best assist users in visual design for learning? Can you folks help me with that one? Specific types of interactions or tasks. Let's see if we're creating visual design, if we're designing something, best assist users in visual design. What kind of challenges would we have? I learned something. Okay, Jen is saying I learned that I sometimes need to remind GPT what we were working on. It tends to forget after a few back and forths. Okay. Okay. Kitsal. Include specific design queries, software related questions, or any other relevant assistant. What suggested interactions or tasks do you have? I love stuff like this because you are, it is fun to stump the computer sometimes. So hopefully this doesn't blow up this entire GPT generator. But let's see. Design consultation. Okay. Software guidance, UX, UI feedback, narrative crafting through visuals, trend insights. Wow. Okay, those are great. I feel like ChatGPT can really spoil us sometimes, because I wish that my own brain came up with some of those suggestions also. But I think that those are great. Yes. Okay. Great suggestion, Cindy. Please provide guidance around cognitive load as well. That's a really interesting one, Cindy. And I think that that's really useful. I don't know that that's something ChatGPT would ordinarily come up with that. You can ask anything related to visual design. Okay, so now that we've added guidance around cognitive load to the expertise of visual learning scholar, I'm going to try out this GPT in the playground. You can ask it anything related to visual design for learning, such as choosing color palettes, software tips, or how to design materials that manage cognitive load effectively. Let's go with it for the sake of time. It's 8:25 Pacific, so let me just say we're going to test. So we'd like to test, or I don't think it knows that it's in a webinar, or does it? I'd like to test now. Thank you. So just being nice. Let's see what happens there. Okay, so we're going to test this in a second, but I do want to go over to this other option here where you can configure, so I can show you what that looks like. All right, so if you want to change the name, it's as simple as changing it here. This description can be changed. I changed the description in the other one. I would like to tighten this one up, so I'll definitely do that later. Here is where these instructions, if you want to continue to refine it more, you can do that here. I believe these instructions are linked like a prompt. So you can change those, and then also here, conversation starters. You can remove some. You can add. As you can see, there's a there's a blank space here to add conversation starters if you'd like to. Yeah, you can. You can alter the personality of the prompt. Are you talking about like saying, have a humorous personality, or uh, you know, be very, um, be a strict um, consultant or something, or a rude consultant? Is that what you're saying about personality, Kitsal? If that's the case, yes, you definitely can. You can ask it to be a jerk. I've seen other GPTs that do exactly that. In fact, there is one of the things that's going on right now is that there is a huge they're having ChatGPT is having to edit out and delete uh, uh, this really inappropriate ChatGPTs that are landing in the stores. There is an inordinate amount of GPTs being created that are functioning as for, I don't know, I guess, yeah, functioning as girlfriends. Basically, it's so bizarre. Not even going to go there though. Now, here in the knowledge area with uploading files, one of the interesting uses of this that I saw was this guy who had created the golf chat GPT. He actually uploaded images of every hole on this golf course to the GPT so that GPT could help him with his golf game. In this scenario, I am not quite sure what files you could upload that would help. You are only limited to 10 files, so you'd have to be you'd have to pick wisely. I was also thinking about creating a beginner guitar player GPT, and I don't know. I was thinking about you could potentially upload images of a bunch of like maybe chord diagrams, different things like that might be helpful. But that's something that I was going to play around with. So you can upload files to this to help the GPT be more specific and to have additional knowledge to be able to share. And then also these capabilities. So this one is a web browsing GPT, and it does DALL-E image generation. Now the web browsing, I believe, yeah, it goes through Bing. So they partner with Microsoft, so it'll be a result coming from the Microsoft Bing engine. And then, and I don't remember what the actions are. Create new actions. I can't recall exactly what that does. Well, I'm going to go ahead and go back to this create area, and let's test it. So let's see. I'm looking, altering personality. You can recommend a tone. Yes. And Kitsal. Yeah, that's something that maybe Kitsal you should test out, making some GPTs with personalities, and maybe you could load a branding guide. Yeah, that's true, Cindy. If it, especially if it's specific to your organization, that is a great use case. Oh, there goes my brain. Okay, I'm gonna just go with a conversation starter like the first one. How do I choose the right color palette for my e-learning course? We all need to know that. I'm constantly challenged by creating palettes. Every time I have a new event, I'm like, oh, what palette should I choose for this? And mostly I just I base it off of the first hero image that I use for the event that I find wherever. All right. It's just always amazing. I don't know about any of you other ChatGPT users, but every time that I ask it a basic question and it comes out with all of this stuff, I am always just floored. Like, if this was an actual human that I was talking to about it and it gave me this reply, I would like I just wouldn't know what to do. All right, so choosing the right color palette for your e-learning course is crucial as colors can significantly impact learners' engagement and comprehension. Here are some steps and considerations to guide you. Goes through understanding your audience, defining the course mood and tone, accessibility and readability. Look at that. It's even recommending contrast and color blindness. Thank you. Branding consistency, using color theory, test and get feedback, tools and resources, cognitive load, trends and innovation. Great start. Great start. This is a great start. Now, let's ask it something that is more specific for a particular type of course. Is anybody working on a course right now that is you're thinking, you need a palette for it? Is ChatGPT plagiarizing other people with its responses? I think that the plagiarizing part of it is still is still forming. It's still very dynamic. When you say plagiarizing, they're still trying to figure out exactly what that means. There are a variety of there are lots of media outlets out there that are suing OpenAI because OpenAI has been feeding on their content. So that's a tough. Ultimately, I think it is. But I think our relationship to all of that and the way that ChatGPT is designed, the usefulness of it is it's almost required in some ways. But I think that as we have to figure all of that stuff. Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Cindy. Okay, let's pretend I am building a course on visual design for learning. What can you recommend a specific color palette? How do you spell it? Is that right? Nope. Sorry. I'm a stickler for spelling too. Palette. I hope that's right. Can you recommend a specific color palette? Please provide hex codes for each color. How about this? I'm going to say I would like it to be a 3-color palette. Please provide hex code for each color. Does that work for you? I don't know if it's going to do it. Looks like it is. 3-color palette. Teal, coral, and slate gray. Can you generate an image displaying this color palette, please? All right, so we're looking at, look at the amount of content that it's already pushed out. Teal, coral, slate gray. It's giving me the hex codes. Sorry for anybody out there that goes more with RGB or anything else. Now I want to see it. Let's see if it'll use DALL-E to actually produce something. I don't know if this is going to work. Jan, I totally agree with you. There's sort of, this internal conflict, that's happening whenever when it comes up with this stuff. But I really do feel like I prioritize my work in a certain way, and it does help me when I think about, well, yeah, I think that we're as knowledge workers, and especially, we're going to always sort of feel that I don't know if I read your comment out loud. I should, just in case anyone is watching this on the recording. But Jan is saying, I often feel when I'm using AI that I should be citing, but since I don't, I change it up a lot, and I still have questions. Still, I have questions about this. Yeah. Thanks, Cindy, for that. Oh my gosh, there's the palette. Well, I want to read Cindy's comment first. The plagiarism thing will come up, and I believe we will need regulators to get involved. In my experience, OpenAI doesn't do a great job of providing its source. Some of the others do a better job about citing sources. Yeah, and that's one of my challenges too, is that I mean, there's just so much to learn about ChatGPT that is primarily the tool that I use. Although I've been really interested in, and I have a bookmark for Claude, but I don't actually go in there much. I've only gone in there like when I'm in specific events or when somebody else is talking about it. I'll open it up and start playing around with it. But I agree. It's really, really interesting. Okay, let's just get to this palette here. Wow, look at that spelling. ChatGPT, not so good at that. So Tiale and Corol, Slate. All right. And that is very interesting. Now, I would, right now, just looking at it, I mean, I like the palette, but I would want to open up I would actually open up an image program and find out whether or not those hex codes 2, 4, 6. Okay, so look, this hex code is wrong because teal is 008080, and that's wrong. Coral is FF6. Okay, that's wrong. And slate, I love it. See, I like it sometimes when computers aren't the smartest in the room. This is great. I mean, it looks nice, but it's wrong. I love flawed things, and that's flawed. So, yeah, it's not perfect. All right, you got that wrong. And we could, you could probably go in and manipulate it and tell it to, that it needs to correct itself or whatever. But it may take a few tries to make it work. But that is it's so darn interesting. All right, and let's see. Let me take a look here. Good question. Is there an MLA style source format for GPT? I'm going in my own head and trying to remember. What is MLA? Sorry, Craig. I wish I knew that. And let's see. Jan saying Bard is much improved. I haven't tried Bard in a while. I was an early tester on that, and it just wasn't working well for me. Jen saying preferred Bard over ChatGPT, and yeah, I'll have to try that out. Thank you, Kitsal. Yeah. Thanks, Jen. Jen is saying there's an inherent issue with the spelling on graphics. I've never gotten it to work. There are articles about it, and I'm a newbie when it comes. Oh, thank you, Jen. That's what I thought. I wasn't sure. I knew it was related to language. MLA is Modern Language Association. Thanks, Craig. There you go. That link. I don't know the answer to that one. It feels like ChatGPT can write better than I can, so, and it does seem like by design it should have that, and it would depend on the style too, and the tone. Maybe it's something that you have to reference in the prompt to have it to make it work with MLA or APA. But so that's interesting. Okay. Don't know the answer to that one either, Craig. Just as you quote a source in a paper, is there an official format for quoting sourcing GPT yet? I don't think so. However, there is something that I did see recently. I saw and it's getting some traffic. I've heard there is I think it's a learning experience designer website, and I was reading it, and it had, some interesting articles that it had posted, a blog. And so I decided to look in the about areas, and in the about area, it did say that a lot of the content was generated by ChatGPT. And so I don't know if there is a requirement to say that, but I was, after reading some of the blog posts on there, I felt like it had that tone to it where it was generated by AI, and sure enough, it was. So I feel like maybe we'll start to get a sense of things that are generated by AI. I don't know that for sure, but you know, um, my wife actually has to review a ton of content in the music industry, and um, she's getting a sense for it, because there are labels out there that are really, they're just for reviews and just for, just outputting whatever content and media. Some of this stuff, you can tell no one really is paying attention to it. Sometimes it's just all designed for SEO or whatever, and it's obviously generated by just by a machine. So yeah, I'm not sure. All right, well, I think that we're at time. I hope that this was helpful. It's pretty straightforward generating these GPTs, and I do want to continue to share information like this as we go forward. My journey in MidJourney has just begun, and I'm really fascinated by some of the output that particular AI tool can produce. I feel like I have different accounts where I am able to choose stock photos, things like that. I'm not, I don't use them that much anymore. I mean, I have like credits at different places that I've been paying for, but I'm not sure I'm going to need to use that with, if I can generate useful things using a tool like MidJourney. We'll see. And because it can output things that are that are specific. Sometimes when I'm trying to choose stock photos, it's not, I never find something that is perfect. At the same time, it's almost like sometimes stock photos can, because you're limited by what you can choose, you end up getting inspired by something, and it could actually change the direction of your going. And so I'm talking specifically about, when I'm creating things like events for TLDC, like the latest one, Bridge to Success. The stock photo I chose has a bridge on it, and I had actually not thought about a bridge before, but once I saw that bridge, I integrated it into the title. So that was, stuff like that is happens, and that is really, really cool. If that definitely would have been a different thing had I just used MidJourney to generate whatever. So there's that. Okay, last series of questions here. Jen, thank you so much. Let's see. Jen, MidJourney is not free, and maybe next week I'll do one on MidJourney. You can do some test images. It depends on. Sometimes they close it. Like when I first tried to test it, it was closed, but then they open it up. The best thing is just to buy to pay for some credits to use it, but you have to sign up for a Discord account, which I had because my son and I pay attention to what happens in the local comic book store, and they use Discord. So we had a Discord account, and then you sign up to MidJourney, and then you're allowed into MidJourney's Discord to generate images. And honestly, I know that you could also log into your account in MidJourney and see the images that you've created. I don't know whether or not you can prompt there, so I have to learn more, but I would love to share that information with everybody. Let's see. And so, Danny, you're looking about recommend a good place to start exploring. What are good places to start? I would, so GPT 3.5, which isn't as good as the version that we're using here, which is GPT-4. I would just go to OpenAI, open up an account, and just ask questions. And when I had started, I had kind of used ChatGPT. I thought, well, instead of doing a Google search, I'm just gonna change it up and go over to ChatGPT and try this free version, see what it has to say. And so it was it came up with really, really relevant results for me. So that's a good place to start. And then I started trying to figure out, like, where can this actually affect my workflow? Are there things that I can use it for that can help me? And one of the things that I started using it for was summarizing. And I'm like, wow, some of these summaries just are really fantastic. In the newsletter, the weekly newsletter that I try to release every week, after a TLD cast or anything like that, I needed to come up with summaries, and it was always, it would take me a little while. At least, it would just take time for me to try to generate a good summary. But then ChatGPT really helped me with that. So the one thing is you can just, like, there are things that are really important that you need to do, like things that are important for you to like for me, event production and just building community and getting everyone together, that's super important for me. Some of these other tasks that take up a lot more time, I'm so grateful to actually have a tool like ChatGPT to let it sort of take over some of those responsibilities. And I don't want it to be core to like anything that I do. That's not what, that's never going to be a primary thing for me. It's like, I just want to be able to share information and, have a community that supports each other to try to, just help build our skills and all of that. So, so I do really, sort of look at it from that perspective. Yeah. So that's it. Yeah, it's just another tool. Thank you. And Jen, Canva's AI. I do have a Canva subscription, and I do use the AI tool sometimes. It's been hit and miss for me, but I definitely need to explore that a little bit more. My Canva use is really specific most of the time, where I'm creating, banner images, and I know like the profile photo of the speaker, and I know the text that I want to put in, so I don't have to use it that much. But I would like to play around with it a little bit more. It might be just as useful as MidJourney for me. You never know, but yeah. All right, everybody. So that is it. I just want to remind you, if you can spread the word about the Transitioning to L&D event, www.t2ld.com, just to help some of those folks that are transitioning to L&D, or pretty much everyone, that one. And then, let me get you, I'm going to save the Visual Learning Scholar GPT, and let me see if I can grab a link to it. Copy link. Here we go. So that's the link to the Visual Learning Scholar. Feel free to play around with that and share it. And I hope you find that useful. I'm actually probably going to use that. Well, probably going to use it to build maybe the color palette for the next event. So keep an eye out on that. And I totally, Quetzal, totally, yeah. Free is never free, right? But we'll see what happens in this instance. I'm not quite sure. All right, with that, thanks everyone. Sorry, this one ran really, really long, but I appreciate you all for being here. And yeah, we'll see you next time.